When I was 21, I first got the idea to lock in. I had had years of going out to nightclubs and parties, taking drugs, getting drunk, and I was just sick of it. It was the first time in my life where I started to think that there was something else I could be focused on. Business, making money online. I didn't give a fuck about university, even though I had like a few months left. And so I started to, research, okay, which business model should I get into? I chose something which was called flipping. I would buy clothes, like branded clothes like Adidas, hoodies, and Nike shorts. I would buy them on eBay on an auction, like, random people would auction them, they'd be pre-owned. And then I would just resell them for triple the price. And so I started to make like £10 profit per item that I had sold. I set this business up, I start making like £100 profit per month, 200, 300, whilst I'm still in university, whilst I'm still like this kind of degenerate child, basically, even though I was 21 years old. I wanted to go all in on this business, but I wanted my friend to join me. So I'm sat in his room and I'm telling him about the business model. We're talking about other things we could do. We could become content creators. We could post like fitness videos or whatever. And I'm telling him like, we can do this and I want you to do this with me. And he sat on his gaming computer, kind of turned towards me, and he's saying like, oh yeah, what kind of videos would we post? And oh yeah, the business sounds so cool. Here's the thing I want to try. But something about his energy was just so inauthentic. Even though I'm sat there for 2-3 hours talking to him, trying to hype him up to kind of join me on this new path, I kind of just know he's not really listening. Because that same night, I get a text from him and it says, hey, want to go out? He's just finished his shift. He works as like a waiter and he's gonna go and basically drink and go out and try and chase girls after he finishes work that day. That's when I realized like we just weren't the same. We were such good friends for years, but we were just on different wavelengths. Within a month or two from this point, we're basically not even friends at all. We have like a big argument about petty shit, like he wasn't helping to clean up even after his own mess in the apartments. And so we have like this massive argument. We fall out with each other and I just take all my stuff and I just leave because I didn't even want to be around him. I keep pursuing the business that I was thinking of, and I even get it up to about £500 profit in 1 month, which was a pretty nice achievement for me. I graduate from university. I try and figure out what the hell to do with my life, and so I'm just trying random shit. I end up even starting the process to enlist into the Royal Air Force because there was a role that I actually thought that I'd be really good at. It was the physical training instructor role. Whilst I'm waiting for like my health test, my fitness test, I'm also just working a full-time job like customer service to just make some money in the meantime. But as I'm going through this path, I just realized like business is where my heart calls to me, not the military, not working some job or whatever. It's business that I want to do. I end up taking the uncomfortable leap of quitting my full-time job and getting a part-time job, dropping out of the process of enlisting into the Air Force. And then basically I worked in a homeless shelter at nighttime, so my shift would be starting at midnight to 8 a.m. And I would take my laptop there and try like all these online businesses that people were talking about on YouTube, like drop shipping, writing ebooks, Amazon, affiliates, all this kind of stuff. And I get like some okay success with drop shipping. I start making like £200-300 profit per month, and I've got a little bit of potential here, right? I'm still like some idiot kid, but I'm still, I'm trying and I'm actually making money, which is awesome. I just keep thinking to myself that I can really take this shit seriously. And out of all the business models, I'm thinking that it's YouTube that I actually really want to do. I debate the decision for ages, but eventually I decide to leave the city because I just didn't want to even work the part-time job because I knew that that was like sapping my kind of time and energy. It was also fucking up my sleep as well. It's like really unhealthy to work night shifts. So I break up with the girl that I'm with. I move back home, so I take a massive hit to like my status, my level in life, moving back home to my parents' home, which I didn't really want to be because me and my family have always had like such problems. But fuck it, I moved back there to pursue my dream. I go full-time on YouTube. 7 months later, I hit 1,000 subscribers. 6 months after that, one of my first videos blows up and I hit 10k, 20k, 50k subscribers. By 2022, so about 1.5 years after I left, I hit a few 100,000 subscribers. 2 years after I moved back home, I hit 500,000 subscribers. 2.5 years after, I hit 1 million, 1.5, you get my point, and then I hit my first 100 $100,000 profit month in, I think it was March of 2023. Since that point, I've made about $100,000 to $200,000 every month. It worked. I chased the dream. I got the superficial, like, material success that I wanted. Obviously, I still have so much work to do, and it's now not just about making money or getting resources or followers or whatever. It's more about my own inner growth and fulfillment, developing my own values, becoming like a real man. But I achieved, like, you know, the money stuff. I checked off the box of money within a few years of focusing on it. And I think so many young guys are inspired by that. They're thinking, wow, that's cool as fuck. I really want to take some lessons from this. Before this point though, there was a interesting night I want to tell you about. So it was 2021, December 31st. So basically New Year's Eve. It's about to become 2022. And this is about 1.5 years after I had left that city. So almost about 2 years since I had seen this friend of mine. I'm not gonna lie, leading up to this night, I knew that I was gonna be a bit of a degenerate. Me and a couple of my friends were gonna go out to like this city and party. I wasn't really doing this stuff anymore, but you know, it was like one time, it was New Year's Eve, whatever. I'm just gonna go be a degen for that night. And something just called me to message that friend of mine. I end up, like, I don't know, seeing him on Instagram, or I had my old phone with his phone number or something, and I send him a message. He replies, we talk a little bit, and then I invite him to come out with us, like basically on like a degenerate night for New Year's Eve, and he says yes. I meet like another friend first, you know, in the city. It's hyped to see him. We're getting food, whatever. And then we're gonna meet this friend that we're talking about outside of the hotel. We're about to check in because we're gonna like stay over there overnight once we like finish this nightclub party that we're going to. And there he is. It's like he looks different, but it's still him. And you know, it's like fucking crazy. We're like dapping each other up. We're like shouting, we're hype and everything. And the first few hours are so sick, right? So we go into the hotel. We're pre-drinking, which is a term where basically like you drink before you go out to drink. So we've got like music on, we're laughing, telling stories. He knows about my story and he's like, oh man, I'm so proud of you. We always spoke about becoming content creators and you've actually done it. Like, you know, it's awesome, bro. It's sick and everything. And I'm so happy that he's saying this. I'm so happy for the success I've built. We're literally partying like with one of my employees who's turned into like my friend as well. And you know, I've got another friend here and everything. And I'm just happy to see this guy who was such a good friend of mine for years. And then I ask him, oh, so what are you working on? And you know, it's so interesting. Like, he didn't even need to answer. The moment I asked him that question, I saw his body language just change into one of like, I don't mean to shit talk my friend, but I want to give you a good lesson, right, for this video. I could just see he was kind of embarrassed straight away. I don't think he did this, but it would kind of look like this, like, oh man, you know, like that would be an exaggerated version of like, you know, like just someone who's like not very secure in what they're about to say. And he says, oh, well, you know, right now I'm working this job. It's like a customer service thing. I'm working minimum wage. You know, it hits. We were on basically like the same level. We went to the same university. We were hanging out together every day for years. And I just realized, like, at this point, so this is start of 2022, I've got a few 100,000 subscribers. I was making like $20,000 a month, which was probably his yearly salary. I was making it 12 times faster and also working like less hours with freedom, flexibility, everything. And look, if he said, you know what, oh, I love my job, I like the people that I work with, and I like the industry, whatever. Okay, fair enough. You know, it's not just about money, of course not. But the fact is, like, he wasn't fulfilled by it. You could just tell, right? And I asked, you know, more questions like, oh, like, how are things like with family? Are you living there? It's one thing he said which really stuck out to me. He said, oh, I'm gonna move to this other city because right now he's living at home, and I was as well. It's like no problem with like living at home with family. I was living at home with family while still making like 20K a month, right? So you don't have to like rush out of living at home. Yeah, he said like, oh, I'm gonna move out and move to this city. And he said he was gonna move with a friend of his that I knew was like, you know, in the same kind of like degen kind of personality, just going out, drinking, whatever. And I said, oh, that's cool. Like, why that city? And he went, oh yeah, the parties and the nightlife is like really good there. We go there like all the time. We take the train there, so we'll go get a place. That's when it just, the hype of like seeing my old friend just completely died away. And I was like, holy shit, like, dude's still in like kind of like high school mentality. He's optimizing his life for going out, like partying, like clubbing, chasing girls. And the thing is, look, I'm absolutely not perfect. There'll be someone who's looking at me then and even me now thinking, holy shit, this dude's got, you know, this problem, that problem and stuff, right? I just want to tell you from my perspective of what I was thinking at that point, because I really respected this guy. I really felt like he had even more potential than I did. And to hear him just have his sights so low, yeah, it was a shame. I try and ignore it and stuff, and you know, I'm still like really happy to see this guy. We go out to this night out, which is pretty fun. By this point, I wasn't really the kind of guy who was like partying anymore. So I did feel kind of awkward. But you know, it was like one of those where like, it was like a rave, like a dark kind of dungeon illusion that you're in dancing to music. It wasn't like one of those clubs where you sit around and try and act cool, but like you kind of goof around. So I had my shirt off, I'm just dancing with my friends, we're laughing about stuff, we're speaking to girls, whatever. Bit DJing, but you get my point. It was fun, right? We leave there, we go back to the hotel. We're all just gonna sleep at the hotel and I just wake up the next day and then we're all just gonna go home after that. And just something small happened, and this is probably gonna make me sound petty, but I just wanna say it because this emotionally, you know, it made me feel something, right? We're all back at the hotel, and imagine we're like me and this friend, we're sat on the bed together, not in like a gay way, you get my point. Like everyone's like sat around, I think we ordered pizza or whatever, right? And to the left of him, like, you know, on the bedside cabinet, like you see like this thing here, like there and there, like, you know, you just have like a little cabinet next to your bed, was my water bottle. He sat like here, you see me pointing, right? He sat around here, that's my water bottle, I'm sat like there. And I say, oh bro, can you pass me my water bottle? And he replies with, get it yourself. Now that might not mean much to you, but it gave me a flashback because that's how he used to treat me even when we were in university. How he used to just treat everyone. I instantly, I'm telling you, within like a second, lost like all respect for this guy. You know, it was so sweet to see my old friend that it was like covered in like nostalgia and sweetness, and you get my point. And the moment that he said that, it was like I got reminded of like, oh shit, that's how he always used to treat me. Like think about that as an example. I know it's petty to think about it, but just think like he sat next to my water bottle. I asked him, can you just pass it to me? And he says, get it yourself. I remember that being like, it made me just instantly remember like he had always been like that. He had never developed the character of like kindness, and not even to strangers, but to like to a friend. Even before this point, even before we had that argument back in like 2019, when we were genuinely just best friends, he used to be like this. And this is the bit where I just realized like, oh shit, like no wonder you're still at like the same level, or if anything lower, right? When we were like dumb university, like college kids, we're like 20, 21 years old. It's fine if you're like unemployed, right? Doesn't really matter if you don't have a job in university. Doesn't matter if you haven't like, you know, really got a business or fulfilling life in university, because you're still 21, you're still like a kid. At this point, we're like 23, like we're adults at this point. We've both left university. We're like employed now, or like I was an employer, he was barely employed. And I couldn't help but to start hating this motherfucker and thinking like, this is why you're at a worse level. Like you peaked in fucking high school or college. Why the fuck would you treat someone you like that? Why wouldn't you just pass me my water bottle? Like it's on your side. Why wouldn't you do such a small thing for me? We were with a couple of friends. One of the friends was my friend Sam, who was like my video editor, you know, for the YouTube channel. And he was like my best friend now at this point. And me and him spoke about it, like I think a few days later, when I mentioned saying like, oh yeah, you know, it hurt when my friend said that to me, like he wouldn't get me the water bottle. He went, oh yeah, I've almost forgot about that. That was so weird. Like why didn't he just pass it to you? I was thinking like maybe I'm the weird one for thinking it's such a big deal or not. But I saw it in Sam's face, like we were on a video call just talking about, you know, what happened. And he was like looking like almost like slightly disgusted of like, even if you don't like someone, bro, even if a stranger, like I'm in a cafe or something and I'm sat next to like the straws, if a stranger looks over, he's like, oh hey bro, can you pass me a straw? I'll be like, yeah, sure. Like what the fuck? Like, you know, maybe that's just petty as fuck, but I just wanted to just tell you the entire story, right? But anyway, I never spoke to him again, and I could be completely wrong. Dude could be like a millionaire, fulfilled, whatever. He could be killing it in life. Chances are maybe not. It sounds brutal for me to say this, and I don't, you know, mean to be mean or anything, but it's such an important lesson that I think so many people could find valuable. There's basically two guys who were so similar, who spent every day together. One guy continues the same habits, going out, drinking alcohol, sleep deprived, and playing video games, eating junk food. The other guy starts like reading about businesses, starts reading books on self-improvement, starts going on to like dopamine detoxing, meditation, those kinds of things. In just 2 years, one of them is making $20,000 a month. The other one's making $20,000 in a year. It's not all about money at all, of course not. But I do think our fulfillment in life probably would have been quite correlative to the level of like success that we had built up, you know, like your hard work's paying off. So why will most men waste their 20s? There's 3 reasons. There's the lack of direction and goals. So most guys just don't really set like a very clear goal of where they want to be in life. Most guys, unfortunately, they just struggle with choosing a path, and so they don't choose the path at all, and then they just make no progress in any direction. direction. That's probably you. Probably most guys watching this. They don't have a direction. They don't have like a bullseye to aim for. They haven't wrote down what the goal is. 100,000 subscribers, girlfriend, children in 2 years. They haven't wrote these things down. They just vaguely take each day as it comes. And the next problem is choosing comfort over growth. It's choosing the video games, the junk food, content consumption, these things that absolutely are a waste of time, and we all know it. No one can argue with this. Every now and then when I try and talk about, not wasting time with like watching movies and whatever, there'll always be some people who think that I'm being like too extreme. And I will never ever back down with my values that like a man should spend his time productively. Now, of course, look, am I saying that you should never watch like a movie again in your life? No. Look, there's certain times where it can actually be really fucking cool. Like, let's say you've got a group of friends and they're all gonna join you for a movie night. And it becomes like a social night where they're all coming over. You've invited everyone, so you're leveling up your social skills and you're gonna watch something together, laughing, talking, bonding. Okay, that's actually cool as fuck. That's absolutely fine. It's a lot healthier than going out drinking or whatever, right? So fair enough. But being sat just behind your laptop every night watching anime? No. Let's say you get a girlfriend and you buy like, I don't know, a PS3 or some shit, and you're playing some game together. It's kind of funny. I don't know what games you could play, but you get my point. It's like, some like bonding game or whatever. It's like a sweet memory together. It's Minecraft and you build like a house together and she finds it fun and stuff, and you play for like, a couple of hours here and there. Okay, fair enough. Now imagine like just playing by yourself, mouth breathing 4 hours a day. You can see that there's like a healthy way to choose the comfortable, pleasurable actions and the unhealthy way that most people do. In the story that I told you today, my old friend was always chasing comfort in the wrong way, and I was as well. Okay, I'm not perfect at all. Even during the time where I was like building up the business, I was still sometimes like watching too many YouTube videos. They were often like educational ones, but it definitely was a bit of a crutch. Like I was just bored sometimes, so I'd watch like a random YouTube video or some shit like that. But I remember before I had left that city, like before I moved out of the apartment with my friend, like he got really into gaming. Like he bought this gaming computer. He just started to play games for hours a day. Hours. That plus going out and drinking was just taking all of his time. Like he even quit going to the gym. Like me and him would go to the gym together, and in the last like 1 year he just completely stopped. So we're talking like zero exercise. He was just chasing comfort instead. And the third reason why a lot of guys are going to waste their 20s, this is a brutal one, is wasting time on unhealthy relationships. I'm not going to go into the relationships of my old friend just out of respect for him. I'm not going to talk about that, but I'll talk about me. In my 20s, I wasted a lot of time in relationships which I had no reason to be in. And this is the problem with casual sex. It's the problem with like operating out of like scarcity. Basically, you meet a girl who wants you, you end up fucking, you develop some feelings, and then you're basically with this girl, but it's not actually the girl you should be with. Or maybe, you both struggle with like effective communication. There's just toxicity in the relationship. Like when I was friends with this guy, I was with a girl for about 3 years, my longest relationship, and we lived together. So once I left this apartment with the friend that I'm telling you about, I actually moved into her place for about maybe 5 months, 6 months, and then me and her got like an apartment together. And that was a mistake. It was such a waste of time. Honestly, such sweet times with her as well. And we had moments where we were actually so sweet together, of course, but it was just an unhealthy relationship. Both of us, me and that girl, can admit that. No hard feelings or anything. It was just like, we were just young, and it was like a toxic environment. We used to go out and party, and then I'd like go get a girl like in front of her, just so disrespectful. And then sometimes she did that to me as well. Usually she did it in like retaliation. So we'd go out as like a group. I'd start kissing like some other girl, and she'd be heartbroken, and then I'd see her like grinding on another guy. Like that's how toxic I've been in a relationship before, right? Imagine what that's doing to your mental health, your focus, your sense of security, and your health. And you get my point. It's just such a waste of time. But the attachment draws you together. You find it hard out of like a bit of scarcity to be able to kind of like move on from those situations. It's a reason why you can waste such a large amount of time and mental bandwidth. Like I said, I won't go into details for that friend that we're talking about in this video, but he did have relationships like this, and I think that was a large part of it as well. It is very mentally taxing to be in a relationship where like the girl's making you feel like anxious, or you're having arguments and fights all the time. Like that's valuable time, right? One argument with a girl lasts like 2 hours, 3 hours. You can read half a book by by that point. I know it sounds silly and weird to like compare like the time efficiency for arguing with a girl, but you get my point, right? Of course, sometimes you've got to have like conflicts that you resolve. But if you have a relationship with this constant problems, constant anxiety, like you're texting a girl right now and you're just always kind of double thinking shit, oh, how should I text her? Oh, she hasn't replied yet, all this. That's all just bandwidth that you could be using to build your dreams instead. So now, what exactly should you do as an actionable step to make sure you don't waste your 20s? Number one, set clear goals. Set a goal for the next year, the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Maybe you set a goal that at some point in your 20s, you want to become financially free. You want to hit $100,000 in a month. Maybe it's like in 5 years from now, it's like a distant goal. Let's say it's before you turn 30 years old. You're financially free, you've made millions of dollars, and you can live however you want. Then what we do is kind of backtrack to set smaller deadlines. So imagine you're like 17 years old, and let's say age 30, we're going to have $5 million in the bank. That's more than you need for you, your family to have a really good life. And it's also to the point where you're not actually sacrificing a lot of life for it as well, in cases you have a bigger desire than money, which hopefully you should do. Money is only like one stepping stone. I know it's like for most unintelligent people, money is the everything. Money is one stepping stone of life. Check it off within a few years like I did. I know that's like a flex or whatever, but it's not actually terribly hard if you do the right things, if you take the right steps, the right paths and everything to check off the money need within a few years. So age 30, financially free, $5 to $10 million in the bank. Then what you're going to do is kind of like understand the concept of exponential gains, right? You can imagine in the last year, so age 29 to 30, that's probably when you'll make the most money, right? That's how it works usually with success, with business. You kind of gain success like this, like an umbrella. So the last year, let's say you go from $1 million in the bank to 10 million. So age 29, you've got $1 million. Age 30, you've got $10 million. Then you start breaking it down and you're like, okay, so for age 25, I only need to make like 25 or 100 grand or something because, we're expecting it to jump up like this. By the way, like as a quick tip, the next few years of your life shouldn't be about making money. It should be about learning as much as possible, leveling up skills to the point that you become like a master in a profitable skill like sales or marketing, content creation, speaking, inspiring people, influence, leadership. If you become a master at one of these skills over the next 5 to 10 years, you'll be financially free. And also, it's just in my opinion, just for me to give you my bias, I just think that's such a better life and a better goal is to focus on the skill that you want to master, that is going to lead to a fuck ton of money as a byproduct rather than the money directly. Because if you're thinking about the money directly, that's when you're breaching on points of like doing a fucking crypto scam, NFT, OnlyFans, this degenerate demon type shit. But if you focus on the skill that you want to become a master at, let's say it's even something like a sport, like fighting, like MMA, then it's like, bro, if you become a master at MMA, which you can do in 10 years, right? If you train full time for 10 years, you can become one of the best fighters in the world, right? You actually can within 10 years, right? Then at that point, it's like, bro, you'll never have to worry about money again. And also you built a fucking awesome skill. When people focus just on money, they end up like bypassing the skill and just looking for like the shitty fucking way to make money right now. Do you see the difference, right? That's a separate point. Maybe I should make a whole video on. But you set clear goals for age 30, maybe age 25, and you kind of fill in each year just based on your assumption, your speculation of like, okay, so if I'm gonna have $1 million in my bank at age 25, I'm gonna expect most of that to be made in the last year because that's how skills and business works. So at age 24, I probably only need like 100K in the bank. Then age 23, maybe like 5K in the bank, which means that I'm 20 years old right now. I've got 3 years to hit my goal of 5K in the bank. That's easy as fuck. I can actually focus more on the skills that are actually gonna set me up longer. Then the second thing you need to do is embrace discomfort. You need to be able to pull away from these vices that has hooked you. You know what they are. For my friend, it was video games, it was pussy, it was unhealthy relationships, it was drinking and partying, socializing with like degenerates. For me, it was basically the same things as well. Especially for me, it was junk food as well. Junk food and weed. What is the comfortable, pleasurable things that you just know are leading you to not living to your potential? You know it. You don't need to bullshit. You know which ones they are. And you can argue about it and say, actually, it's not that bad. But if it came up in your mind, bro, you know it. With consciousness. Remember, look, what I'm saying is kind of horrible, right? I'm saying to give up your vices. It sounds kind of scary and you can say it's not a vice, whatever. But just remember, like, I'm on your side here. Like, think about that. You know when I'm super strict in my videos and I say like, no video games, no porn, no junk food, don't waste your time, don't even waste a second on this stuff. Even though I sound like an asshole and I'm being so strict. And people like will take a clip of this and put it on Instagram and say like, oh, this guy's like an alpha male or whatever. Just think about this for a second, by the way. I'm on your side. Sometimes your own brain is not on your side and your own brain will tell you like, no, it's fine. 1 hour of video games every night, which is actually like 2 to 3 hours, is fine. fine. No, like chocolate's not even unhealthy anyway, or you know, like pizza's got pretty good macros or some shit. Sometimes you need to listen to your mind and say, fuck you. Your own brain tells you to watch porn, what, like 1,000, 5,000 times? Sometimes your own brain can't be trusted. How scary is that, right? So then you need to think, okay, instead of your own mind and your own feelings telling you what to do, you need to think of what are the uncomfortable actions that are going to develop the skills that you want. So in the first way to not waste our 20s, I told you, okay, set clear goals, and I told you about the concept of setting goals on skills instead of just money. Well, now think, okay, which skill is it that you want to level up, and what's the uncomfortable actions that you could take that would give you a competitive advantage? Let's say you want to level up sales, right? Most guys will read a sales book, apply for like some random sales job, not get it, and kind of forget, and maybe watch some sales videos on YouTube every now and then. Imagine if you take the uncomfortable step to set up some random fucking product and try and sell it immediately. Imagine if you take the uncomfortable step of posting content and telling everyone who watches it to click on the link below, which is like a link to book a call with you, and on the call you try and sell them. Imagine if you do 1,000 sales calls, which would be about 8 per day for what, 125 days, something like that. So imagine in 1/3 of the year, which basically I'm pretty sure is about like how many days we have left of this year, January or February, you've done 1,000 sales calls. That's more than most people do in like their lifetime, right? Let's say the skill you want to become amazing at is like fighting, like Muay Thai or boxing. Imagine if you train 3 times a day. I know that's gonna sound crazy, right? Wait, but I don't have time. But imagine if you just fucking made time. 3 times a day is 3 hours. Your screen time's more than 3 fucking hours, right? Don't fucking bullshit, right? So we all have time. There's someone who's training 3 times a day right now, right? Imagine this. You train 3 times a day boxing. The person you're gonna fight against, like your first fight, has probably been training like 3 times a week. Imagine the skill acquisition of how quickly you're gonna become like a master at this. And when you are phenomenal at one of these skills, money will just flow effortlessly towards you, especially if you have a couple of skills that contribute together. Like for example, let's say boxing, you're amazing at, you can win fights. But then also you learn the skill of, for example, marketing. And so you are a boxer who ends up getting a fuck ton of followers on social media. Imagine that as a lifestyle. You're a boxer with millions of followers. Brands pay you like $100,000 or some shit like that to put like their fucking logo on your shorts. You end up making like a program or a gym to teach, you know, kids how to box. Maybe like a book or a course or, you know, a workout routine, whatever. And you start making $50,000, $100,000 a month as also a full-time boxer. Like that's fucking sick, right? That's like the lifestyle that I'm stepping in. I already have the skill of like influence, of content creation, of marketing. Now I'm training kickboxing twice a day, 2 hours a day, but with a one-to-one coach. Like I don't do classes. So I'm leveling up very quickly. Then imagine I'm a kickboxer who's got millions of followers. I can sell out stadiums, right? How fucking sick is that? Do you see how I'm not focused on the money? I'm focused on the skill. And the skill of kickboxing then allows me to embrace discomfort and to think, fuck it, let's do 2 sessions per day. Fuck it, let's make sure that, you know, my diet is right. Let's make sure that my training, my sleep is right, because I'm leveling up in this skill. So you need to think about the skill that you want to get into and then the uncomfortable steps that you can take to help you master that skill faster. And the third way is like a special bonus tip of not wasting your 20s is to focus on real connection, genuine love, rather than the short, superficial relationships. The reason why I'm bringing this up for this video is because both me and the friend that this video was about had like the kind of relationships that just were a distraction. And if both me and him just stayed single and, you know, didn't pursue women, we would have been so much further ahead, honestly. So just bear that in mind. Like, you know the kind of girl that you want to be with. Don't settle for some random like kind of half degen girl who vapes, who's like had sex before you and you haven't, and you know that makes you feel uncomfortable or whatever. Set super high standards, and any girl who doesn't meet those standards, don't even text them for fucking experience or any bullshit like that. Just don't fucking waste your time with girls who don't meet your standards. Have super high fucking standards, and then when you meet a girl, fucking take that shit seriously. You can commit, you can really go all in on making that girl feel like your wife, your queen, right? But don't waste your time with anything sort of in the middle, which is like girls who you wouldn't really want to be with, but maybe you'll fuck, maybe you'll get head, or all this shit, bro. It's all such a waste of time of your potential, because all the sort of sexual lust that you have, you'll get it out with your fucking dream girl anyway, and you'll be able to attract your dream girl in a few years if you actually fucking really do this, bro. The version of you, let's say, is a boxer, but with hundreds of thousands of followers, and the trials and tribulations that has then developed your character. You know, you're a fighter, but also you've been able to deal with like hate comments and growing a business, you're financially really successful. That version of you is of course going to attract your dream girl way easier. When it comes to relationships and how it affects our life, we've just got to make sure we don't waste our time with anything in the middle. We want to be extreme, like monk mode, not thinking about girls at all, just saying no to every girl, or we want to find a super high quality girl. You know this within a second if a girl is like this. You know that, okay, bro, if she's got tattoos, probably not. You find out your own values. I'm just telling you some of mine. If she's like fucked around before you, probably not. If she parties, probably not. If she vapes, probably not. If she doesn't have like ambition or the desire to grow, probably not. If she wouldn't be a phenomenal mother for your children, probably not. You set super high standards and you just stay here. Any woman who doesn't meet the standard, nope, you ignore, you reject, you forget about them. You don't text them for experience or for fun. You don't go and hook up with them. You don't go on casual dates. You don't waste your time with any of the stuff in the middle, right? This is all the casual bullshit. You just find basically your wifey. You find that girl, lock her down ASAP, or you stay complete monk mode. You do that and you will have such a huge push to your growth compared to the version of you that's just getting distracted, psyoped and brainwashed by all the things in the middle. The distraction of porn, casual dating, casual sex, trying to get head from this one girl, trying to fuck this one girl, all this bullshit here. FaceTiming a girl that you wouldn't actually want to be with. So many guys waste so much of their life like that. Skip the entire middle part and then you will make the best use of your 20s. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.